Have you ever watched a soccer game and just, well, marveled at the blistering pace, the constant chaos, those split-second decisions that seem to defy belief?
hmm
It's a sport where, raw athleticism is undeniable, but what truly elevates players from being merely good to genuinely elite?
Yeah, what is that difference?
It often comes down to something you can't actually see with your eyes, but you can certainly feel it in the flow of the game. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going beyond the buzzword to deconstruct something absolutely fundamental to that elite level of play: soccer intelligence, or as many in the sport call it, soccer IQ.
Right, that term gets thrown around a lot.
It does. Our mission today is to pull back the curtain on what this mental prowess truly means, why it's not just a nice to have, but an absolutely critical component for success, and maybe most importantly, how it can be systematically taught and mastered.
Which is the really interesting part, the teaching aspect.
Exactly. We're drawing heavily from an expert guide, The Intelligent Player, a coach's comprehensive guide to defining, teaching, and mastering soccer IQ by Etienne Noumen. It's a work that builds on the foundational insights and, actionable strategies of Dan Blank.
Both really influential thinkers in this space.
Absolutely. So think of this deep dive as your insider's guide to the software that truly runs the hardware of physical talent on the field. Whether you're a player looking to sharpen your game, a coach striving to develop smarter, more adaptable athletes.
Or a parent just trying to understand what to look for.
Precisely. Or just intensely curious about the beautiful game, this deep dive is for you. Okay, let's get stuck into this. Let's start by really understanding what we mean by soccer IQ. How does the book define this essential player attribute?
Yeah, that's a great place to start because the book really challenges the idea that soccer IQ is some singular innate gift, something you're just born with.
Right, like it's fixed.
Exactly. Instead, it describes it as a complex, integrated set of cognitive abilities that absolutely can be developed. They can be trained.
Okay.
At its core, it's a player's real-time ability to understand the game unfolding around them and consistently make the optimal decision, often, in a fraction of a second.
Wow.
It's truly the engine of anticipation, allowing players to predict where a play will unfold, when to pass or when to shoot, all before it actually happens.
So it's not just reacting to what's happening right now, but almost predicting the future of the play. Can you give us a quick example of how that engine of anticipation might, show up on the field?
Absolutely. Imagine a midfielder, right? High IQ player. They see an opponent maybe winding up for a long pass across the field.
Okay.
Instead of just waiting for the ball to arrive near their teammate, they've already read the cues, they've already moved 2 steps to intercept, they cut off the play before it even fully develops.
Ah, right. Proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. That's the engine of anticipation in action.
Yeah.
And this predictive power comes from what the source calls a rapid cognitive cycle. It's this continuous loop of perception.
Seeing and understanding cues.
Right.
Right.
Then processing, so analyzing the options available, and then executing, making the right move. And it's incredibly fast. We're talking milliseconds.
That sounds like a lot to juggle in such a, well, chaotic environment. So if soccer IQ is this complex mental engine, how does the book break it down, make it teachable, understandable?
Yeah, it does. Our expert guide identifies 5 crucial pillars, each representing a critical cognitive domain.
Okay, the 5 pillars. Let's start with the first one.
Indeed. The book introduces these 5 pillars as sort of the building blocks of true game intelligence. First up, there's tactical awareness.
Tactile awareness, what does that cover?
This is a player's deep understanding of their team's strategic framework. The formations, the collective movement patterns, how they fit into the overall game plan. It's knowing the difference between, say, a high press, where attackers push up aggressively to win the ball back quickly.
Right, putting pressure on high up the pitch.
Exactly. Versus a low block, where the team drops deep, defends their own goal, makes it compact, and crucially, understanding when and how to execute each tactic as a team.
Okay, that makes sense. And building on that tactile side, the book really emphasizes game vision and spatial awareness. What exactly does that encompass, and why is this idea of constant scanning so vital?
Right, game vision and spatial awareness. It isn't just about seeing the field in a general sense. It's more about creating a dynamic mental map in real time.
A mental map.
Yeah, perceiving strategically important information, things like open spaces, passing lanes, and crucially, where defenders are going to be, not just where they are right now.
Predicting movement, too.
Exactly. And the real hallmark of great vision, as the book points out, is this habit of constant scanning, looking away from the ball, checking your shoulder, gathering that crucial information before you even receive the pass.
So you know what's around you before the ball arrives.
Precisely. Think of it like a chess player, always looking several moves ahead, rather than just staring at the piece they're about to move. If you only look at the ball, you're always reacting, always a step too late.
That makes perfect sense. So after you've developed that game vision, you scan, the next natural step is translating what you see into action, which brings us to decision making. That sounds like the core process here.
It really is. Decision-making is, well, it's about selecting the optimal course of action from a whole range of possibilities and doing it under immense pressure in that critical fraction of a second.
Right.
A player might see the right pass, they might have the vision, but they need the cognitive speed, the confidence, maybe even the courage to choose and execute it at the perfect moment, without hesitation. It's that moment of truth where all the perception and processing comes together.
Okay. And building on that quick decision making, the next pillar sounds like it's about staying one step ahead. Anticipation and reaction.
It is. Yeah, this is what truly separates players who seem to be always in the right place at the right time. It's the ability to read subtle game cues. An opponent's body shape, the weight of a pass, a teammate's run.
Tiny details.
Tiny details, yeah. To predict the next event and move proactively. For example, instead of waiting for an opponent to control the ball before you attempt to tackle.
Which is what most players do.
Right. A highly anticipatory player might already be moving into the passing lane, intercepting the ball before it even reaches the intended receiver. They're playing the pass, not just the player receiving it.
That's a huge difference. And finally, rounding out these 5 pillars, we have positional understanding.
Yes, positional understanding. This is kind of a specialized subset of tactical awareness. It focuses specifically on a player's role within the team system and how their movements impact the entire collective.
So knowing your job, basically.
Knowing your job, exactly, but also how your job connects to everyone else's. A forward needs to know how to time runs, to exploit defensive gaps, maybe create space for others. A midfielder needs to know how to provide passing options or defensive cover. A defender needs to position themselves to anticipate attacks, cut off angles.
So it's seeing the game through the lens of your specific responsibilities, but also how it fits the bigger picture.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Understanding not just your job, but how it connects.
Now, it sounds like the book also addresses a common pitfall, especially in youth soccer, doesn't it? This tendency to focus just on pure athleticism. What does the source say about that bias?
Yeah, it's interesting. Newman's guide highlights a common and often, frankly, detrimental bias in youth soccer towards players who show early physical dominance.
The bigger, stronger, faster kids.
Exactly. Coaches sometimes gravitate towards those players, labeling them good just because they can, run the straight lines fast and physically dominate opponents. It's kind of a quick win approach that often overlooks the deeper intelligence piece.
And what's the long-term impact of focusing so heavily on that raw physical talent, especially as players get older and move up levels?
Well, this selection bias, the source argues, often leads to players whose feet were moving faster than he could think. It's a great phrase.
Yeah.
They might succeed at younger ages purely because of those physical advantages, but their development can stall when those physical advantages get neutralized at higher levels.
Because everyone is fast and strong then.
Exactly. At the top tiers, where everyone is an elite athlete, the decisive factor shifts dramatically. It becomes cognitive processing speed and decision-making quality. Raw power only gets you so far if you're constantly a second behind the play mentally.
It's powerful to think that a player with high soccer IQ can truly dominate a match without being the fastest player on the pitch. How does that actually happen in practice? How do they compensate?
It's quite elegant, really. Their superior anticipation means they often arrive in the right space without needing to outsprint an opponent directly.
Because they started moving earlier?
Precisely. They've already read the play, and they're positioning themselves where the ball will be.
Yeah.
And then their vision and decision-making allow them to release the ball quickly, often one touch, before heavy pressure arrives. So that raw recovery speed from defenders becomes less relevant because the ball's already gone.
So a quick mind often negates the need for, well, the absolute quickest legs.
You got it. What's fascinating here is how this shifts the focus from what's immediately visible, raw speed or power, to nurturing those subtle markers of intelligence, like that constant shoulder check or the clever little decoy run that opens up space, things that are harder to spot initially.
Okay, so we've kind of deconstructed what soccer IQ is. Now let's talk about the how. Dan Blank's method is celebrated. The book calls it an almanac of smarter soccer decisions. It mentions his cognitive heuristics, which sounds pretty academic. Can you break that down for us?
Absolutely. Don't let the term scare you. Think of cognitive heuristics simply as mental shortcuts, rules of thumb, like how you instinctively brake at a red light without having to consciously analyze the physics of stopping distance every single time.
Right, it's automatic.
Exactly. Blank gives players these quick, efficient rules of thumb to make smart decisions almost automatically, without overthinking, even when they're under immense pressure. He cuts through the abstract theory to offer simple, memorable, and actionable solutions that, with practice, become second nature.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's the sort of holy grail of his philosophy? What's the biggest concept he wants to instill in players?
Well, Blank's central thesis, the real holy grail of his philosophy, is mastering the speed of play. And importantly, this isn't about individual sprinting speed.
Okay, not just running fast.
No, it's about the speed at which the ball is moved and decisions are made. He emphasizes a key principle. The moving ball is fastest than a player running.
Ah, right. Pass the ball, it gets there quicker than dribbling.
Precisely. If you can move a ball quickly, accurately, from one player to the next, you effectively outrun the opponent's defense without anyone having to sprint flat out.
That's such a critical point because slow play, with too much dribbling, too much hesitation, is tactically disastrous, isn't it? It just gives the opposing defense time to get organized, close down space.
Makes penetration almost impossible.
Exactly. So to achieve that speed of play, you need what the source calls the one-touch mindset. What does that involve?
Yes, the one-touch mindset. It's primarily a cognitive skill, not just a technical one. It's born from the mental work a player does before the ball even arrives at their feet.
The preparation.
Exactly. It's fueled by constantly asking blanks three questions. What if? What next? What's behind me? A player who has already checked their shoulder knows where the pressure is coming from.
Right.
A player who has already assessed their teammates' positions knows where their next pass is likely going. This mental preparation makes one-touch play possible because the decision is essentially already made before the ball reaches their feet.
You can really see the difference there. In a, let's say, low IQ scenario, a player might get a pass, take maybe 3 seconds to trap it, control it, then look up, scan the field.
By which time the moment's gone.
Exactly. The opportunity for a quick pass or a penetrating move has vanished. But with a high IQ player, they've scanned before the pass, adjusted their body, maybe redirected the ball with one touch in under a second.
Huge difference. That's the difference between a stalled attack and continuous momentum. It just creates constant problems for the opposition.
So beyond this overarching philosophy, Blank identifies some key foundational habits for intelligent players. One is playing from a spot. Tell us about that.
Yeah, playing from a spot. This is essentially the art of a controlled first touch that kills the ball dead, right close to your feet.
Not letting it bounce away.
Exactly. This isn't just basic ball control, though. It strategically creates a critical buffer of space, maybe a yard or two around you.
Yeah.
This gives you that crucial extra fraction of a second to make your next move, rather than inviting immediate defensive pressure because the ball got away from you. It just calms the moment down.
Takes the franticness out of it. Okay. And then there's the 3-step rule. After passing the ball, immediately take 3 steps away. Sounds simple, but what's the power behind that little rule?
It's incredibly powerful, deceptively simple. This isn't just arbitrary movement. It does 2 key things. First, it prevents you from being a static target, easy for a defender to mark right after you pass.
Right, you don't just stand there.
No.
Yeah.
And second, it automatically creates a better passing angle for a potential return pass, a 1-2. Think about it. Without those 3 steps, you're static, easily marked, and you might block a passing lane. With it, you instantly open new angles, you make yourself available for a quick give and go, keeping the momentum flowing.
It transforms players from just standing still after a pass to being constantly moving dynamic threats, even immediately after they've released the ball.
Exactly. It keeps the game fluid.
He also emphasizes passing with empathy. I love that term. What does it actually mean to pass with empathy, and how does that change a team's flow on the field?
Passing with empathy. It's a great concept. It means truly understanding the receiver's situation, where they are, where the pressure's coming from, and making the pass as easy and helpful as possible for them.
Thinking about your teammate.
Fundamentally, yes. It changes a team's flow by making every pass an act of support, not just getting rid of the ball. This includes things like passing angles, where players without the ball constantly adjust their position to get into the seam, that vulnerable space between two defenders, which creates a dilemma for the opposition.
Makes the defender choose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's also about passing to the proper foot, delivering the ball not just to your teammate, but specifically to their preferred foot, or maybe the foot furthest away from an approaching defender to ensure they have a fluid first touch and immediate control.
Small details, big impact.
Huge impact. And empathy also means avoiding mistakes like the impossible pass,
Yeah.
Forcing a ball into a teammate who's tightly marked and has absolutely no chance of receiving it safely.
Setting them up to fail.
Pretty much. Or what the source calls the late entry pass, sometimes called the unabomber pass in Blank's work. Maybe a bit dated now, but it's a pass played too late into a dangerous, congested area, often where pressure has already collapsed on the receiver.
So the receiver gets swarmed immediately.
Right. This pass usually leads directly to a turnover or a dangerous counterattack because you put your teammate in a terrible spot. An empathetic pass sets your teammate up for success, not for failure.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Dan Blank doesn't just tell you what to do in general terms. He provides these specific, almost tactical rules of thumb, these heuristics that can quickly transform how you play. So, beyond these foundational habits, how does he apply these ideas to more advanced offensive and defensive intelligence?
He absolutely does extend these ideas.
Uh-huh.
On the offensive side, Blank dives into concepts under the umbrella of offensive intelligence. This includes things like proactive runs.
Proactive runs.
Yeah, where players make runs not just hoping for the ball, but actively telling teammates where they want it, often involving the two runs principle.
2 runs.
First, maybe a decoy run that pulls a defender out of position, creating space. Then a second, penetrating run into that newly created space. It's about intelligent movement to manipulate the defense. They also learn to attack the seams, running dynamically between two defenders to cause indecision and break through the lines. It's all about creating, well, calculated chaos for the defense through smart movement.
Clever. And what about on the defensive side? How does he instill defensive intelligence?
For defenders, it's largely about smart, disciplined play, avoiding costly errors. This means understanding things like not committing the world's dumbest foul, which is typically a frustrated, unnecessary foul on an opponent who's facing their own goal, maybe near the sideline, going nowhere dangerous.
This relieves pressure on them.
Ghastly. It just gives the opponent a free kick in a safe area and lets him reset. Then there's the non-negotiable last player rule.
Yeah.
If you're the last defender in possession of the ball, you never get tackled. Prioritize security over trying something risky.
Because losing it there is catastrophic.
Absolutely. Smart defenders also learn how to approach an attacker at an angle, not straight on, specifically to cut off the return pass, effectively trapping the ball carrier, maybe forcing them towards the sideline or into a teammate providing cover.
It sounds like these aren't just rigid rules you follow blindly, but more like tactical scaffolding. Teaching players to understand the why behind the rules so they know when to apply it, like with that late entry pass you mentioned.
Precisely. That's a key point.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying pass quickly, Blank's approach helps players understand the why hesitation and a poorly timed pass into pressure are so detrimental. This allows players to progress from simple rule-based decision-making to more principle-based adaptive intelligence.
So they know when a quick release is essential to exploit a fleeting gap.
Right, or when it might actually be better to hold the ball for a second, shield it, and maybe recycle possession if the forward pass isn't on. They learn to make intelligent choices based on the situation, not just follow commands robotically.
Okay. And finally, Blank's work also touches on mastering the clock and conditions. How do intelligent players leverage those aspects of the game?
Yeah, game management. Intelligent players are always aware of the game state, the score, the time remaining, and also their environment.
Like the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're leading late in the game, smart players know how to run down the clock. They take the ball to the opponent's corners, they shield it, maybe waste a bit of time on throw-ins, prioritize keeping possession.
Annoying, but effective.
Very effective. Conversely, if you're trailing, every second is precious. So they speed up restarts, they take calculated risks to create chances quickly, and they adapt to environmental factors too. Understanding that on a really windy day, maybe you keep the ball on the ground more. Or, on a wet, slippery pitch, shots from distance are more likely to cause fumbles or deflections.
So you crashed the goal for rebound.
Exactly. It's all about playing smart, adapting your game, not just playing hard, regardless of the circumstances.
So what does this all mean for coaches then? Listening to this, it feels like coaching soccer IQ isn't just about running drills. It's really about designing an entire ecosystem for intelligence to flourish.
That's a great way to put it. The source really emphasizes that teaching soccer IQ is less about direct, explicit instruction, you know, telling players exactly what to do all the time, and more about creating these carefully designed training environments. Environments that implicitly guide players towards smarter behaviors and really foster independent thinking.
And a key tool for this seems to be small-sided games, SSGs. Why are they so effective?
Yeah, SSGs are huge. Whether it's 3v3, 4v4, maybe even 5v5, small-sided games are described as the ultimate laboratory for developing soccer IQ
The ultimate laboratory. Why?
because they naturally amplify the cognitive demands on the players. In smaller spaces with fewer players, everyone gets significantly more touches on the ball. They have to make more decisions more frequently in tighter spaces and usually under greater pressure.
Makes sense. More involvement, more decisions per minute.
Exactly. This accelerated rate of game-relevant experience, perception, decision, execution over and over is probably the fastest way to build pattern recognition and improve decision-making under duress.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because in a full 11v11 game, especially at younger ages, some players might barely touch the ball, right? But in SSGs, everyone is constantly engaged, and the role of the coach also seems to shift significantly, doesn't it? From a sort of dictator to what the book calls a Socratic coach. What does that look like in practice?
It's a fundamental shift in approach.
Yeah.
Instead of just yelling instructions from the sideline like pass the ball wide or shoot, the Socratic coach asks probing, open-ended questions.
Like what?
Like, what options did you see when you looked up there? Or if you were to rewind that moment just before the pass, where might the open space have been? Or what could you have done differently to support your teammate?
Guiding them to find the answer themselves.
Exactly. This approach nudges players towards self-discovery, towards deeper understanding. It fosters independent thinkers who can analyze situations and solve problems on their own during the chaos of a game, rather than just waiting for instructions.
Video as a mirror is another powerful tool the book highlights. How can coaches effectively use video analysis to enhance soccer IQ beyond just showing mistakes?
Video can be incredibly effective if used well. The source suggests the pause, question, predict method during team or individual reviews.
Pause, question, predict.
Yeah. You'd freeze a moment in a game replay. Ask a player, okay, pause here. What did you see in this picture? Or maybe what should you have seen? Then, based on that, what options did you have? And predict what the optimal next move would have been. It allows reflection without real-time pressure.
Detached analysis.
Exactly. And then there's also the learning by watching protocol. This is about teaching players how to watch professional matches intelligently, not just as fans.
So, giving them homework.
Kind of. But specific tasks. For example, asking a player to focus only on the movement of the left back for an entire half. Where do they go when their team has the ball, when they lose it? Or analyzing a team's defensive shape during transitions. Or tracking how quickly a team reacts collectively after losing possession. It transforms passive watching into active analytical learning.
That's clever. The source also provides some excellent progressive drills designed to build these specific IQ skills in a structured way. Can you share a couple of examples that illustrate this?
Certainly. For building that foundational awareness, that scanning habit, there's a great drill called the rondo with a shoulder check.
Okay, like a normal rondo, keep away in a circle.
Pretty much, yeah. Players in a circle pass the ball, trying to keep it away from defenders in the middle. But here's the twist.
Huh.
Before a player can receive a pass, they must quickly check their shoulder, see a colored cone or bib held up by the coach standing outside the circle behind them, and call that color out loud.
Forcing the scan?
Explicitly. It directly forces and reinforces that habit of looking away from the ball, gathering information, making that spatial awareness second nature, even within a relatively simple passing exercise. Then, for more advanced intelligent attacking movement, the third-man run combinations drill is fantastic.
Third man runs. Okay. How does that work?
This drill teaches one of the most effective tactical concepts for breaking down organized defenses. It focuses on timing, anticipation, and combination play. Essentially, it involves player A passing to player B, who then immediately plays a first-time pass to player C, who is making a run into space, often behind the defense. Player C is the third man.
So it bypasses the immediate defenders.
Exactly. It encourages players to think 2 or 3 passes ahead, to read the situation, and crucially, to understand how their movement without the ball can unlock defenses for a teammate. Timing is everything.
Right. Okay, so to bring this all together in a kind of real-world scenario, the source uses the U12 challenge as a bit of a case study. It highlights common problems faced by youth teams at that age, things like flocking.
Yeah, where all the kids just chase the ball like magnets.
Right. Abandoning positions.
Huh.
And also defensive hesitation, that sort of deer in headlights reaction when an opponent runs at them with the ball.
Very common issues. Exactly. So, to address the flocking, the plan suggests starting with zone-based games.
Zone-based
Yeah,
games.
you mark out zones on the field. Players are assigned home zones,
Yeah.
and initially they absolutely cannot leave them. This immediately forces them to hold some kind of shape and look for passes into other zones, rather than just running to the ball.
Makes them spread out.
It does. Then you can progress it by allowing, say, one player to move into an adjacent zone to provide support. This starts teaching dynamic movement and support principles while still maintaining overall team balance. It slowly weans them off that instinct to just chase the ball everywhere.
That's a smart progression.
Yeah.
And for curing that defensive hesitation, that fear of tackling or engaging, it's a common issue at that age, isn't it?
It really is. The recommendation is to start simple. Build confidence. Begin with low-pressure 1v1 drills, where the primary goal isn't even necessarily to win the ball right away.
Not about tackling.
Not initially. The goal is simply to delay and direct the attacker. Teach them the defensive stance, body shape, footwork to guide the attacker towards the sideline or towards help without diving in recklessly.
Building confidence first.
Exactly. Build that confidence in their stance and movement before progressing to introducing pressure cover principles in 2v1s and then 2v2s. This teaches them how to work together defensively. One player pressures the ball, the other provides cover. It's a step-by-step approach to building both individual confidence and collective defensive understanding.
The source even provides a detailed sample 75-minute training session plan that integrates all these elements. Can you give us just a quick flavor of how a session like that might flow?
Certainly. A typical 75-minute session focused on IQ might start with, say, individual awareness drills, like head-up dribbling gaits, forcing players to dribble while constantly scanning ahead.
Okay, warm up with awareness.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it might progress to cooperative awareness with something like the rondo with a shoulder check we talked about.
Yeah.
Getting players communicating, scanning, thinking ahead as a small group.
Building complexity.
Yeah. Then tactical application could be introduced, maybe with 3v2 overloads to goal, where players practice recognizing and exploiting numerical advantages in attack, making decisions about when to pass, when to dribble.
Putting principles into practice.
Exactly. And finally, the session might culminate in a conditioned scrimmage, perhaps using those zones from earlier, or maybe restricting touches. And critically, throughout this, the coach acts as that Socratic facilitator, asking questions, guiding discovery, rather than just shouting answers.
It's a really holistic approach. It truly shows how these methods are about cultivating smarter, more adaptable, more effective players, and not just at the youth level, right? This feels like a robust foundation for long-term success throughout their entire soccer journey.
Absolutely. The principles scale up.
So, to sort of recap our deep dive today, soccer IQ isn't some mythical fixed talent you're born with. It's a cultivable, crucial set of cognitive abilities, awareness, decision-making, anticipation that can be systematically taught and mastered.
It really can.
It requires thoughtful coaching, the development of specific ingrained habits like scanning, and intelligently designed practice environments like small-sided games. The insights from Noumen, building on blank, provide a really clear and actionable blueprint for this transformation, emphasizing really that a smart player is often a more effective player than just a purely athletic one.
Indeed, and that core idea is so important. The intelligent player isn't born. They are cultivated. They're developed through deliberate practice and smart coaching.
And maybe understanding this soccer brain can profoundly change how you watch the game, how you coach, maybe even how you approach problem solving in other areas of your life.
Absolutely. Focusing on anticipation, precise decision-making under pressure, adapting to dynamic situations. These are pretty universal skills, after all.
So, a final thought for you listening. Next time you're watching a match, try observing players specifically through the lens of these cognitive pillars we've discussed. Look for that constant scanning, the check of the shoulder before the ball arrives. Look for the empathetic pass that sets a teammate up perfectly, or the clever decoy run that creates space seemingly out of nowhere.
See if you can spot the why behind their actions.
Exactly. You might just see the game in a whole new, much deeper way. Appreciating the mental chess match that's constantly unfolding beneath the physical exertion on the pitch.